JBNN keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones. Before we get into the news, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and to share the news with someone today. Now onto the news. Taxi driver freed after being trapped in Mandeville crash. Firefighters were called to the scene of a two-vehicle collision along New Green Road in Mandeville on Sunday morning after a taxi driver became trapped inside his car. The crash involved two Toyota Wish motor cars, one of which was operating as a taxi. According to a preliminary report from the Mandeville Fire Station, the emergency call came in at approximately 7:31 a.m. One person was pinned inside one of the vehicles and had to be extricated by firefighters. A senior officer from the Jamaica Fire Brigade confirmed. The injured driver was later taken to the hospital for treatment. His condition was not immediately known. Two women injured after a car overturns in Miketown, Manchester. Two women are lucky to be alive after the car they were traveling in ran off the road and overturned in Miketown, Manchester on Sunday morning. According to preliminary reports, shortly after 8 a.m., the driver reportedly lost control of the vehicle, which veered off the roadway, overturned, and crashed into a tree. Both occupants sustained injuries and were taken to hospital for treatment. Their conditions are not considered life-threatening. Police launched manhunt for a driver in fatal Portmore hit-and-run. The St. Catherine South Police have launched a search for the driver responsible for a hit-and-run crash that claimed the life of an 80-year-old man in Portmore early Sunday morning. The deceased has been identified as Roy Pickersgill of Edgewater, Portmore. According to reports, around 3:50 a.m., Pickersgill was riding his bicycle along George Lee Boulevard near the Portmore Town Centre when he was struck by a motor vehicle. The driver fled the scene without stopping. Pickersgill was rushed to the Spanish Town Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Stats community saddened at the passing of former schoolboy standout. Philip Williams, head coach of St. Andrew Technical High School Stats, says the passing of former schoolboy football standout Andre Salmon has dealt a heavy blow to the school's community. Salmon, who was hospitalized for weeks after being shot, succumbed to his injuries yesterday morning. Williams remembered Salmon as a talented and brilliant student athlete who had joined Stats football program as a child but had left a man. He spent 5 or 6 years with us, and he came to us as a baby, Williams reminisced. He was just 12 years old when he came to us, and he served the team and football program well while he was here with us at Stats. Salmon is a key member of Stats football program, representing the school throughout the under-14, under-16, and Manning Cup age groups. He played a major role in Stats under-16 team that won the school's first football title in 35 years and was one of their standout players during the 2023 Manning Cup season. KSIMC intensifies efforts to relocate the homeless and flood-prone residents. Mayor of Kingston, Andrew Swaby, says the municipality has intensified its efforts to relocate homeless people to shelters as Jamaica braces for the impact of Hurricane Melissa.
No, you get food. The lady guy one there. Come, man. Just come, Come, no. You want for 65 Hanover Street, a male go round, so. You have to go Hanover Street. All right? Come, man.
Yes, round there for me.
Yes, man. Yes, round there. Clothes round there, food round there. Come. Let's not lose the life, man. Take up your umbrella.
No, my umbrella.
How about umbrella? That the umbrella?
Yeah, no.
Since morning we have asked some of the persons on the homeless persons on King Street and carried them into the shelters. About 15 of them we have taken them into the shelter at Church Street, and about 3 females we have taken to the shelter at 65 Hanover Street. And we have been processing them. They'll be having a bath, and we'll give them some clothes, and they'll be getting some food. I've been here from several days. I must tell you, they have always said to us that they will want to wait until when the rain starts to fall. Prior to now, we have taken in 17 persons in total right across Kingston St. Andrew. There's a section of Raytown area, the eastern side of South Side, that's McKinney Street, Charlotte Street, and Tower Street, that we believe it is prone to flooding. They're right by the gully, and when the storm some surges come. So what we have said to the residents, we have asked the police to go in and talk to the residents, make the announcement, and ask them to move to the Holy Family school. But the buses will be coming at 1 o'clock to get them. We have also making sure that the markets are clean and dumping, because we don't want those garbage on the road during the hurricane. And I'll be taking my sojourn to Port Royal to observe there what's going on over there. I have visited the national shelter at National Arena, and up to the time when I visited early this morning, there were 7 persons that were registered in there.
And you're expecting more?
Well, I would have expected more. I know that the upstairs section of the arena is reserved for the persons from Port Royal.
Mackenzie pleads with residents in flood-prone areas to evacuate.
I'd like to advise the country that we have activated all shelters across Jamaica. So shelters are fully activated, and persons who wants to go to the shelters, they can do so because the shelters have been activated. There are 2 areas of concern I want to address quickly. One, I spoke yesterday about the number of cranes, construction cranes, that are left hanging across the corporate area and other sections of the island. Not much has been done since I spoke about it, but I want to advise those persons that they will be held responsible for any damage, loss of life, that those cranes and construction material might contribute to. It is not late to take them down. I am asking those who have up those cranes, right around here in New Kingston, you see them up, still up, making one final appeal. The other area of concern involves some of our homeless population. And I noticed that a lot of people is criticizing the government because there is one homeless man in the Harborview area who got personal attention from the Inspector of Poor and the Secretary of the Board of Supervision, who went out and engaged him in lengthy conversation, trying to convince him it is in his best interest to go to the shelters. And he refused. I saw in one of this morning's newspaper that one homeless man said he'd rather die on the street than going into the shelters. I want to make it clear that we have made all the necessary provisions to remove the homeless population. We have provided public transport to take them to the various facilities right across the center. And we will continue to do so as long as conditions allow us to do so. The question of the mandatory movements will be addressed. But let me say to Jamaica that I don't think we need an order to move from the areas that we know are vulnerable communities. Very encouraging, despite there are still persons in Port Royal who don't want to leave. The Member of Parliament, Philip Paulwell, called me last night to say that a significant number of persons in Port Royal have started to move or have left the community. And we will still be providing transportation in all the communities. And if you listen to what everyone said about the level of rainfall and the possibility of flooding, many of these communities will not survive this flooding. Again, I urge persons living in low-lying areas, areas that are vulnerable to flooding. It is not too late. If you're having problems to move, call the odd pen. The numbers are available. We will assist you if you are having problems in moving. I said yesterday, and I'm going to repeat it again. When this event comes, it is going to be impossible for us, after all the attempts that we have been making, to advise persons, begging persons to leave. It is going to be difficult for us to say to our first responders, go out and risk your lives now, for someone who refused when it was conducive for them to leave. It might sound harsh, but it is the reality. And I don't believe many people in this country realize what is it we are facing. And the government continues to play its part, and nobody can deny that the government has not been proactive. And I want to say something which is pertinent in saying, based on the assessment that was done by the government after Beryl, the committee headed by former commissioner, who is now ambassador to the United States, a lot of findings. We look at the findings and the recommendations, and a lot of what came out of those recommendations are being implemented as I speak. So our shelters are up and running. Transportation to transport people to the shelters are available. The critical communities know themselves. Rocky Point in Clarendon, Portland Cottage, Bamboo River in St. Thomas, New Haven, Riverton City, Taylorlands. I can go on and name. These communities know themselves. They know the difficulties. And with a Category 4 hurricane, with the possibility of raising to a Category 5, there is nothing more we can do as a government but to beg and beseech persons to heed the warning. And if it will help, I will go on my knees. It is the collective response of all of us as Jamaicans that will take us through. This is just the beginning. And if anybody believes that being stubborn helps, well, that is their funeral. This is one bet you cannot win. You cannot bet against Melissa. Don't do it because you can't win. And I'm urging Jamaicans, we'll be back later on if needs be to give further updates. Minister Dixon have indicated that we'll be back tomorrow morning. And if possible, we can come back on Tuesday. We will be coming back. We will continue to speak to the country. But we can only speak as loud as you will allow us to speak. So, the shelters are up. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security have started to make arrangements to provide relief supplies for all our shelters. The shelter numbers are up, and I'm going to ask Miss Edwards to come and to give some numbers that persons can make contact. It is important, ladies and gentlemen, Jamaicans, I beg of you, I urge you. And as a praying country, let us continue to pray for God's guidance and strength as we commence this journey that only God knows where it will end. Thank you.
And JBN will keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.